A New Mexico woman who pulled over during this thunderous, record-breaking flooding ended up watching her friend's home get swept away.
Oh my God. She's actually out of town right now. And so it was kind of heartbreaking to be filming and then to see my best friend's house that I have memories in floating down the river on top of everything, you know?
The waters of the Rio Ruidoso River rose 18 feet in less than an hour on Tuesday, cresting at a record high of more than 20 feet. Emergency crews carried out at least 85 rescues as the flooding trapped people in their homes and cars. Still, 3 deaths were confirmed, including a 4-year-old girl and a 7-year-old boy. Terrifying moments near San Angelo, Texas, as rescue crews fought to save this woman. She was struggling to keep her head above water, going under several times as rescuers battled the strong currents. Nearby residents helped pull her to safety, and she was taken to a hospital.
Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Richie from Boston. It's the 9th, it's July, it's 2025, and this is going to be a very long video, and I hope you share it and leave your comments below because this information needs to get out. This is going to be a long video because it has to be a long video. So, before we get into that, let me show you this real quick.
Of course, we lost everything that we owned, me and my wife, and saved my business. I didn't have any of my equipment there, so... But we lost our home, and it was just the little children that was floating away. It's what got me. I didn't care about my home or my possessions. I really didn't care about me. It was just those children that were always watching in RVs running. Had other friends down there that I knew on the island. They got washed away. My buddy tried to get down there and save some and throw some kids to him, and the man wouldn't throw them. And that family of 5 went. And small stretch down there of just 500 or 600 yards. There's about 75, 80 homes that wadded up in about a 300, 400 yard stretch. They all wadded up. About 25 tiny homes, and the rest were RVs and fifth wheels and all that kind of stuff. And like I said, it wasn't the possessions and losses, just all those screaming kids we had to listen to that we couldn't get to and couldn't save them. And we're here. We thank the Lord for all the support and everything, and for all the people that showing up and the communities and the pitching. I didn't think this was even possible to have this kind of turnout, for a disaster like this, but we're here. This morning he said, "Dad, I gotta go." So he took his kayak and all of his gear, and he's not a rescuer, but he knows this river just as well as anybody. And he found a little girl down there and had to put her in a kayak, and Mystic Camp had to put her in a kayak and float her down the river. He said, "Dad, I'm not showing nobody these pictures, but I will show it to you. Do you want to see it?" And I didn't want to see it, but I said, "Yeah, I need to see it. I need to see that little girl laying in your kayak that's 9 years old, son, so I can have not a reality check, but I need to have," and some people need to see that. As hard as it is, and not to be disrespectful to nobody, everybody needs to see that little girl that my son was swimming with, and her in his kayak. Everybody needs to see that. Everybody needs to see that, because that's real. We'll get through it. Lord will get us through it. Lord says, "I'll take these disasters and I'll turn them into good." The Lord allows and he doesn't allow. He allowed this to happen. He still sits on the throne, and he allowed this to happen. He allowed this to happen. He will turn this around, and he will bring good out of this, like he's doing right now. And it's sad it takes tragedies like this to bring people together, but good's going to come out of this. God promises that, and he don't lie. That's promised to us. So we'll get through it. Lord will get us through it. Lord says, "I'll take these disasters and I'll turn them into good." The Lord allows and he doesn't allow.
So here's a map of the towns and cities that were affected by the storm, even though another one's inbound right now. There's another storm coming right behind it. You see them conjuring? We're getting it too, but nothing like that. They're conjuring these up. These little drops right here will turn into a giant storm, and they'll stall it just like they did last time. But this right here are the towns that were affected. See all these towns? Austin, San Marcos, New Braunfels. Do you know where these are right next to? These are exactly where they want to, it's exactly where they are building their data centers. But see this little town, Kerrville, right here? Well, coincidentally, This town approves a $175 million power plant project in Kerrville. Isn't that strange? What weird, that's just so coincidental that that's occurring, because that never happens, right? Am I right? Am I right? Yeah, I'm being sarcastic. I'm being facetious. But yeah, that's exactly, that square is that. That right there is exactly where they built the Large Hadron Collider's larger brother and then suddenly stopped. Or did so they? It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Eastern Standard Time on the 9th of July, 2025. And I can't help but notice that this large, see how all these separate NextRads all leave a certain print behind them when they go up? You know, like, look at this, look at this. These guys, I can only imagine the air ringing and the inability to focus, concentrate, remember things all in this area. I mean, look at this. Look at this. It's unbelievable what they're doing down here. But look over here in California. From this pinpoint and this pinpoint, these things blow up in a massive, it's like a blockade. This is an enormous place. This is California. From here to here is huge. It's huge. It's over half the country. Do you see what I'm saying? What is this down here? What is this? Just sitting there. Doesn't make any sense. Notice how these kind of look like a natural formation, like clouds or storms. What is this? Tie-dye? Fireworks? I mean, what is this? And you can see there's lasers shooting out of every side of it and then shooting into it from every other side. And remember, Area 51 is right here. Absolutely nothing over this entire area. Nothing. Nada. Zip. Zero. Zilch. Unreal, right? Unbelievable. But look at this, and you wonder what the weather issues are? It's them. This is what they do. This is how it's done. You're looking at it live, man. Live. And it looks like Florida's trying to hold this storm off the coast right down here. If I'm seeing this correctly, I could be wrong. It is what it is. This is a trip. This is an absolute trip. No wonder they're going to shut this down, because you know they watch us. It is what it is. They watch us. Remember that? What gets me the most about these storms and all these sad stories and all these people that are helping each other, etc., so forth and blah, 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 is they're not seeing the forest for the trees. I started my YouTube career 15 years ago showing that these guys were indeed controlling the weather. And as a matter of fact, they've weaponized the weather. And it should be pretty straightforward by now. And if people understood this, maybe they could stop it, because they need equipment to weaponize and control the weather. And if people were aware of it, then maybe we could have a solution. Otherwise, nothing's going to happen, and nothing is happening, except the fact that these guys, in 2025, we have never seen them utilizing the weather as a weapon as bad as they have this year. And it's not going to stop. It's continuing. It's absolutely everywhere. It's in New Mexico. It's in California. It's in Philadelphia. It's in North Carolina. It's in Texas. It's in Florida. It's absolutely everywhere, because that's what the weather allows them to do. The weather is over us all at all times. And when weaponized, we're seeing what kind of damage they can wrought. And the funniest thing about this is every place that gets hit with a 1,000-year storm, it's always a place where they have a power plant, minerals, or they just want people off the earth. They're literally wiping the slate clean. And step by step, inch by inch, day by day, moment by moment, they're getting it done. Can you see it now? Let's go back to something I said back in November of 2024. Just 8 months ago, 9 months ago, my mistake. But listen to this. See if this makes sense to you. This is a map, as you can see. And Asheville, North Carolina is at 2,200 plus feet above sea level. So it's up there. It's almost a half a mile above sea level. And it's also a 6 hour and 29 minute or 398 mile drive away from the ocean. I don't care what new science has to say. Science has shown that the reason we get hurricanes in Boston is because we're on the ocean. The reason Florida gets hurricanes in hurricane season is because they're surrounded by the ocean. The reason that Charlestown, Myrtle Beach, Wilmington, Norfolk, Philadelphia, New York sometimes experience hurricanes is because they're on the ocean. And as you can see, Eastern Tennessee and Western North Carolina are not near the ocean whatsoever at all. So, what am I saying here? Well, I'm going to say that this storm was steered and manipulated exactly like Hurricane Helene in 1958 was. Oddly enough, this storm attained hurricane strength on September 26, and conditions became increasingly favorable for a tropical cyclone development. And guess where it landed? Yeah, same thing, same time, except in this storm, the military was experimenting by dropping dry ice in this to see if they could anger or control or steer the storm in a certain way. Well, that was back in 1958, and let me explain something to you right now. Times have changed and technology has changed, and your government has been working on how to own the weather in 2025, 2 months, my entire life. And this is the entire playbook. I've been passing this playbook around for time immemorial, and people just don't seem to care. I'll leave links to it below, but the government absolutely, without a doubt, can control the weather because it is the biggest weapon, because it gives them plausible deniability, because climate change, another absolute hoax. This, my friends, is climate change. It's the government using the weather to do their dirty work. Let me explain. I started out on YouTube over 14 years ago, and what I was doing was simply pointing a camera at the sky and asking if anybody else noticed anything. Good morning, YouTube. I'm in Boston, Massachusetts. Logan Airport is right over there. And here's a fella laying down quite a thick chemtrail right now. Look at that, huh? Good stuff. And the best part about today is right over Boston, there's actually 5 jets doing coordinated skywriting. And this big fella right here is going to fly right through their field. Right through it. The weird thing is the skywriting, you can barely see it. It just keeps dissipating. Unlike this stuff, it doesn't go anywhere. I mean, look at that. Can you actually see the airplane flying about the same height as the chemtrailers? See, whatever the skywriters were using, they probably should have used this stuff that whomever is using, because it lasts and lasts and lasts for hours. So you get my point. I've been doing this a long time, and this is exactly how I started. I've been following every single solitary thing they've been doing, and they've been doing a lot. From Bill Gates wanting to dim the sun or spray in front of the sky to dim out the sun to save us from climate change, to the hundreds of patents that go back to 1891 that talk about messing, controlling, and screwing with the weather. Now, these are the same guys that can't balance the national debt. They can't even say a speech. They can't even do a debate for president. But these guys have been at this for a long, long time, and they're going to dim the sun and save us all. Well, let me tell you a secret. They have been dimming the sun. It's no secret, but they fight back against us, and on the mainstream news, they tell you things like this is simply condensation from an airplane, etc., etc., etc. Well, sir, I beg to differ. Why would they want to use the weather in Asheville, North Carolina? What's so special about Asheville? Well, I'm glad you asked. Here's the answer.
Weather manipulation, weather modification is not a conspiracy theory. They have told us time and time again, and by they, I am talking about the powers that be, but scientists, researchers, and so forth have told us time and time again they can manipulate the weather. They can create very powerful storms, monsters. The government has been manipulating the weather ever since the 1930s, if not before then, under such projects like Operation Storm Fury and Operation Cirrus. So it's definitely no secret. Going back to weather manipulation, we actually have something rather interesting when it comes to North Carolina Hurricane Helene and a particular agreement. Now, for those not aware, lithium batteries have been really making their rounds in the news lately. Here in the United States, where I'm from, certain items with lithium inside have been catching on fire. Then I believe there was a port that had cases of lithium, which also caught on fire. So, like I said, we have been really hearing a lot about lithium lately. You see, North Carolina has a lot of lithium deposits. Do you see where I'm going at here? There is a corporation that really wants these lithium deposits. That corporation is called Albemarle Corporation. Now, Albemarle is owned by both BlackRock and Vanguard. That shouldn't be very surprising because BlackRock and Vanguard have their hands in everything.
And here's the fun fact about BlackRock. BlackRock and Palantir are basically the same entity. And the quote-unquote president, Donald Trump, that everybody he's going to make America great again, he doesn't care about America, okay? He's a political puppet. He's a billionaire. His main concern is, and always has been, Israel. And I think he's made his point pretty clear recently when every single thing he promised, he did the exact opposite, right down to the Epstein files. Right down to the Epstein files. I mean, are you kidding me? I've got more pictures of Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein together with young women around than I do of my actual wife, my ex-wife, I'm sorry. It's ridiculous. And the fact that people still think that Donald Trump is somehow for America, you guys are seriously deluded. And if you want any country to be left at all whatsoever, you better wake up to that fact right here and right now. Donald Trump is one of them. Joe Biden was one of them. Joe Biden caused the problem that would allow Trump to give the reaction that people would, quote unquote, unelect him. Do you see what I'm saying? All he wanted to do was put troops on the ground, be able to have vans pull up and black bag people and take them away, period. That's just all there is to it. I don't know what else to tell you. And don't forget about this little nugget right here. A Texas city has required residents who are seeking government disaster relief funds in the wake of Hurricane Harvey to pledge not to boycott Israel. The city of Dickinson, about 30 miles south of Houston, posted grant applications for anyone seeking money for repairs after the Category 4 storm. Local officials say the pro-Israel cause is required under a Texas law enacted earlier this year. The application has drawn a strong rebuke from free speech activists. In the 4-page recovery aid application posted on the city's website, a section reads, "By executing this agreement below, the applicant verifies that the applicant does not boycott Israel and will not boycott Israel during the terms of this agreement. This provision stems from a law barring the state from entering a contract with any business unless it does not boycott Israel." Texas, America. Yeah. This isn't new information. This is old news, guys. This is old news. And you know who put it in place? You know who loves this? You know what makes this big and beautiful? Yeah, your boy. But this is what Trump's real, true allegiance is. And it's not to us.
So these awards are given to me by the Jewish community for different things. And this is the Tree of Life, which is a very big award in terms of everything that I stand for. It means so much to me. And a lot of times I'll have friends of mine come in, Jewish, and they will see the Tree of Life and they'll say, wow, what a great thing. Likewise, right over here, this is the Shalom Humanitarian Award, and that was presented to me also. And these are different awards I've had over the years for different things I've done.
I hate talking about President Trump because voting isn't real. The left wing, the right wing are the same bird. And that bird is the enemy. And that bird runs all countries. The enemy, the war is them against humanity. Every single thing Trump said he was going to do, he didn't do. He gave $500 billion to the richest 1% on Earth. He told us the drones were authorized. They were supposed to be there. He told us the Epstein files, JFK, all of these things would be open. And I told you before this, none of this would have happened. Instead, what he's done is he's passed laws that are favorable for Israel. He's threatened to literally deport American citizens on behalf of Israel. When do other countries pass laws that favor some other country? It doesn't make any sense because that's not what it's for. What I'm trying to tell you here is he's a puppet. He's in place right now to pull the agenda forward, and he surely is. And weather as a weapon is not some pie in the sky, quote unquote conspiracy theory. This is all playing out, and it's playing out rapidly, and people need to understand this. I don't know how else to explain it.
We are getting our first bird's eye look at just how much destruction was left behind by the deadly 4th of July flash floods in central Texas. These satellite images show before and after views of the flood impacts across various locations along the Guadalupe River. The hardest hit location was right here, Camp Mystic, where a girls' summer camp was destroyed, and more than 24 campers and counselors lost their lives. More than 100 people were killed in the Texas Hill Country when up to a foot of rain caused the river to rise 26 feet in just 45 minutes on Friday. Look at this dam in Ingram, Texas, which is further east along the river. All of the trees and vegetation between the road and dam were just wiped away. The Texas flood was America's deadliest rainfall flash flood in almost 50 years, topping the death toll from Hurricane Helene in 2024.
Every other country in the world openly discusses how they can control the weather, how they can make it rain or stop it from raining, so forth, so on, and blah, blah, blah. But let me tell you a little secret. We were the first ones to do it. Look up Operation Popeye on the History Channel. It's mainstream, where they literally flooded the Ho Chi Minh Trail using geoengineering, where they spray nanoparticulates out of the back of airplanes, which is something you can look up and watch them doing every single solitary day with your own two eyes. But sadly, Americans are so stupid that they don't believe their own eyes. They believe what the talking heads on the news tell them, when we happen to know for a fact the news is owned 100% by the elites, the same wealthy people that are perpetrating this. Because believe it or not, these assholes are looking for eternal life. And if they have to kill all of us to do it, they will. And they are. And they are. They're deforesting the earth right in front of us. They're polluting every single solitary river, stream, and ocean on Earth. They've literally tricked people into using Monsanto on their own property, which has now caused it to be completely a killing field for anything that lives. The Earth had an ecosystem that God put in place, and people have systematically killed off every bird, bee, butterfly, everything that we need to live, they've killed off. But that's okay. That's okay. Because Walmart, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, they all have patents so that they can fix this after we're gone. These guys have literally taken the most simple word like photosynthesis. The sun causes plants to grow. People exhale carbon dioxide. Trees inhale carbon dioxide and make it into oxygen. But fortunately for us, Bill Gates has come along and completely flipped that on its head. And he's trying to show people that taking trees down, throwing them through a wood chipper, compacting them is now, quote unquote, photosynthesis. And people are lazy and dumb enough to believe it. Because when they Google it, that's the answer they'll get.
When we think about climate change, we need to remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. The most efficient way to remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere is to use photosynthesis. It's a natural process that's capturing CO2. Graphite is engaged in what is called durable carbon dioxide removal, and so what that means is we're preserving the carbon captured by plants, keeping it stored for 1,000 years, and we're doing it for the magic number of less than $100 a ton.
This is a ton, 40,000 tons per acre of land. Yeah, you're not going to get that any other way.
Yeah.
This human parasite has literally taken clear-cutting forests, clear-cutting them, turning them into wood-chipped particles, crushing them down into cubes and putting them in their deep underground military bunkers or their personal underground bunkers, because when you have all the money in the world because you've stolen it through vaccines, medications, television, Amazon, things of that nature, you've got enough money so you can protect yourself, so you think, from the inevitable, which happens to be prodding God. Yes, prodding God, okay? When your family's wealth comes from killing babies at abortion clinics, calling it Planned Parenthood, well, the next best thing would be, after you get rid of all the people, get rid of all the trees. They've already gotten rid of all the birds. They've gotten rid of all the bees. Everything's nest. These people control the weather. Look at their actions and tell me you can't figure this out for yourself. This is not an accident. None of this is an accident. They can and do control the weather. They're spraying heavy metal aerosols out of the back of airplanes over your heads every single solitary day. Some of us boomers remember when, I'm not a boomer, never mind, I'm a Gen X, whatever. Some of us remember when the sky was blue with fluffy clouds. There weren't airplanes spraying tic-tac-toe patterns in the sky every day whose ultimate goal was to literally block out the sun, which they do. They control the weather. They use NEXRAD and Doppler. It's not there to tell you what the forecast for the next day is. It's there to amplify, increase, and mess with the weather. And it works. It works. I mean, what more do you need to understand? These people are lying to you, all of them. They're running the national debt up like it's a contest. They're starting wars. They're making everything absolutely uneasy because they want to reset everything. It's called the Great Reset. The World Economic Forum has a YouTube video on it. I've shown it numerous times, and apparently I'm going to have to show it again. They're doing this by design. Trump is 100% in on the plan because they're all in on the plan. The ones that aren't on it are you and I. And some of us have been trying to wake some of you up for almost 2 decades, and it just doesn't seem to be taking. At any rate, Richie from Boston, leave a comment below or don't. I'm out.